I believe, and I've seen with my own eyes, that street art is a movement and an avenue to improve the world, change it for the better. Now, I want you to visualize the timeline of life as a line that you walk along, balancing. If you stop, you might lose your balance. And the only way to stay firmly on the line is to keep on moving forward. You're not allowed to take a break and think differently. And you cannot take a breath and question the path you're on. You're consumed by the fear of falling down and the threat of the disappointment and shame that comes with falling. Our society doesn't have much tolerance for finding alternative directions. The line is what it is. Falling off means failing. For many of us, this isn't an imaginary exercise. It is how many people feel every day, and it's something I have experienced myself. There was a point in my life when I felt I had fallen off the timeline of life. I was down and lost. But that was when I first discovered street art and its innovative power. I was so in love. My introduction to street art allowed me to see what I was doing as a new form of self-expression. This started my journey in creating my own innovative voice and allowed me to help others who struggle. Street art gave me my own creative voice, and it allowed me to help other people. I could make contemporary art and at the same time help people who struggle. With street art, I discovered the power to solve major social challenges. Let me tell you how we use street art to solve an urban issue in one of Norway's largest cities. This is next to Domkirka, the main church in Kristiansand. It was a dysfunctional urban area where drug abusers threw away syringes and used equipment, and it was a space where no one wanted to venture. Paradoxically, this space is at the heart of the city, yet no one wanted to use it. It is what we call a passive urban space. But then we started to apply street art to this area to transform it into an active urban space. We painted the ground, placed new benches for public use, and added an art installation that we call the freedom of speech wall that encouraged the public to co-create by adding their expressions to the installation. The freedom of speech wall united people from all walks of life to participate in a democratic dialogue. The results of the Domkirka was that families with small children now started to use the space and sat side by side with former drug abusers. The project united people, and the grey urban area were instantly transformed and filled with laughter and happiness. People started to take selfies with art and were proud of the urban art in their cities. Rates of vandalism fell, and we saved the states millions of Norwegian kroners in restoration costs. And best of all, this was a public art gallery, open 24/7 with no tickets. As an artist, it is rewarding to see how art can transform an urban area in such a tremendous way. But what was even more rewarding was to see how the artists that helped us beautify the area also transformed. This is the crew that helped us. And while we see them as artists, the rest of the world saw them as refugees. They came from traumatic conditions back in Syria and had taken a huge risk to travel all the way to Norway. But once here, they were faced with a new set of struggle to make new friends, get jobs, and integrate into society as worthy citizens. But through the Domkirka project, something incredible happened. They made new friends, were profiled in major newspapers, which led to permanent job offers, and today they are mentors and strong voices within their own community. The success of the project sparked a new idea. How could we use street art to integrate marginalized people back into society? We then contacted the local government to conduct another pilot project, this time with people who are struggling with mental health and drug abuse. We recruited a crew of artists, and we like to call them artists, because it removes the stigma and the labeling that they struggle on daily basis. By being an artist, we give them a new identity. We taught the crew our best techniques and involved them in our major art production. And on the 5th of May 2018, we were many artists together at Gartnerløkka. The project was to beautify an awful underground passage. One of the artists in the crew, let's call her Maria. She was 26 years old and had been a drug abuser for 7 years. When she first got involved in our program, she felt lonely, lost, isolated, and depressed, and shameful. She had lost her identity, and she was suicidal. She was trapped, without hope, opportunity, or freedom to get a new chance to be part of society. Our street art project was the first time in her life she ever had a chance to complete something. And stop and think about that. And imagine what that would feel like. To finally feel a sense of mastery. That was tremendous for Maria and made a world of a difference for her and the people in her life. Maria had a new chance in life. She stopped using drugs and has now been clean for 2 years. I think that Maria and the rest of the crew were giving a new opportunity to close gaps in their CVs and be part of society in a constructive manner. The project gave them a new sense of self-worth and allowed them to tell their stories. The success of the project made interesting with one of the local universities, and I'm proud to announce that next year we are commencing a new pilot project here in Arendal. We have to start viewing street art with a different perspective, and I think we have only seen the top of the iceberg. We didn't know the effect that street art would have on drug abuse, mental health, and integration challenges, but the results are promising. I believe that street art has the possibility to be a bound in social development. And I can't wait to apply street art to other social challenges, such as racism, high school dropouts, domestic abuse, and elderly loneliness. Street art is a movement and an avenue to improve the world, change it for the better. It is not vandalism. It is our largest radical art production that opens up our creativity and hopefully will change people's lives. To bring it back to the start. Street art is the necessary safety net for all of us who are balancing on the timeline of life. It pushes the limits of modern city development. And to me, it is a proof that people can contribute with a raw and uncensored life stories. It is art with a purpose, and it's responsible street art. Thank you.